All right, we got some new utility irons, Takomo utility irons that we're going to be building for George Bryan. Let's go. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm here in the shop and we are going to be putting together some new utility irons, a 2 and a 3 for George Bryan. I'm going to show you the whole process. We're going to build them from scratch here and then ship them off. Let's get going. All right, here's what we got. Here is the 2 and here is the 3. We've got a couple of Ventus blue hybrid shafts that we're going to be using. We've got some Super Stroke velvet style grips, and then we've got a couple ferrules. If you didn't see it, I posted on my Instagram account a few different choices, and these were the top 2 picks. So this is what we're going to be putting on these 2 utility clubs. Give them just a little bit more character. All right, let's get these guys cleaned out quick. All right, next up we got to tip these 2 shafts, get them ready to go into these heads. We're going to be tipping these essentially 1 inch for the 2 and 1.5 inches for the 3. That's a little bit more than what the recommended tipping is for this type of loft, but those lofts are based off of a hybrid. These are obviously utility irons. These are heavier. They're going to give the shaft more flex, so we want to make it just a little bit stiffer to support that extra head weight. Oh, before we start tipping and prepping these shafts, I'm going to go ahead, get a little bit roughed up on these ferrules on the inside, and then throw them into my hot box, get them going and get them ready so that when it comes time to actually install them, they'll slide on nice and easy. And 1.5 inch. All right, now let's get the tips sanded. We're just trying to take the paint off. That's as much as we need to sand these down. Okay, the tip is prepped. As you can see, we have some extra area that we've prepped right here. Hopefully keep the ferrule held in nice and tight, won't go sliding around. Let's go ahead and measure these out to final length. All right, I've got a placeholder cut Golf Pride Tour velvet grip we're going to use to measure out the swing weight here because it weighs the exact same amount as the Super Stroke grip. First up, let's do the 2. Always make sure we double check. We put the right head on the right shaft, otherwise your swing weight measurements are going to be very confusing. And we look like we are right about just under D0. So we'll add just a tiny bit of weight to these just to get them up to that sort of D2 range, at least on this guy. 3 on the 3. And this one is coming out pretty much identical, which means we can add essentially 4 grams to each of these and we'll be good to go. I'm going to stop right here for a second. I'm going to get a little acetone. We're going to put it in my little glass acetone container here, and we're just going to clean everything up, all the bonding surfaces, just to make sure there's no grease, oil, anything that could impede the bond. So we're going to take this guy, just run a Q-tip with that acetone in it. You could also use denatured alcohol. I'm going to do the same thing with the shaft. We're just going to get a little more acetone here on the end of the Q-tip, just do a quick brush. Just make sure we didn't get any old grip solvent or anything on the end of the shaft while we were moving things around. Same thing with the other one. Just like that. All right. Always a good idea to not have to touch it if you don't have to. So we'll do that right there. All right, let's start with the number 2. Put a little epoxy down in there. Again, remember, do not over epoxy the hosel. You do not need to fill the entire cavity up there with epoxy, just enough to just coat all the surfaces, just like that. Done and done. Next, we're going to get the 2. Make sure you're matching up. We're just going to put a quick little ring, a very thin ring of epoxy, just like that. That's going to help us hold the ferrule on there. We're going to go ahead and put this one on the 2. Again, we're going to go ahead and just put some epoxy right on the tip of the shaft. We're going to throw one of our little 4-gram weights in there as well. Pop that in. We'll put a little bit of the epoxy on the end of that too, just to make sure everything has just got a little bit of epoxy on it. And now we're just going to put them together. Rotating as we slide them together. Once we have it all the way in there like that, we want to go ahead and tap it down upside down like this. Remove my little mat here. We're just going to all right, let's wipe off the extra. First, we're going to wipe off right at the joint between the bottom of the ferrule and the top of the hosel, but also remember, because we put a little of that epoxy up at the shaft level to hold the ferrule, that we're going to also have to wipe that off here at the top. Got some epoxy on my fingers. That's why we wear the glove. And let's put them together. Start it like that, bring it upright. Now, because of this little tip weight that's in there, you are going to get a little bit of a pressure buildup situation, so you're just going to have to sort of work it down into place, keep rotating it, may have to tap it a couple times to get that pressure to release up the shaft. Eventually, you will kind of hear it sizzle or pop a little bit, telling you that the air has moved up out of the hosel, up into the shaft, and you'll be good. You're not going to have the shaft start rising up on you as it's setting. Next up, we're going to grab a piece of paper towel real quick and just put a couple drops of grip solvent on there. Just a few drops like that. Just kind of let it soak in for a minute. We don't want it to be drippy or wet or anything. We just want a tiny bit of that grip solvent on there. We'll wipe the shaft a little bit just in case we got any inadvertent epoxy fingerprints on there. We're going to wipe around the hosel again. We're going to wipe up here at the top. We're going to go ahead once again, make sure the shaft is aligned right. And we're going to let these guys hang out in the heater here for just about probably 40 minutes is all this is going to take to get these guys to get good and hard. Again, this is just a little Amazon lunchbox heater. You don't need a big elaborate piece of equipment that takes up a ton of space and costs a ton of money. This does all the same things. You can take it out when you need it. You can put it away when you don't. Inexpensive, does the job perfectly. This is my kind of tool. All right, see you in 45 minutes. All right, we did about 45 minutes in the heat and then another 25 minutes, let it cool back down to room temperature. And that now gets us where we are here, which is the epoxy is completely hard. And these clubs are ready to finish up. We should all be pretty well done in the next 5 minutes. So next thing we need to do, because we did put some tip weights in there, and those tip weights in graphite do have a little bit of a thicker base on them. That means these clubs just got a little bit longer. So we're going to go back, trim them again to get them right to the correct length, and then we're going to finish the ferrules. Okay, next up we're going to go ahead and finish off these ferrules, just get them turned down so that the ferrule and the hosel are nice and smooth. When you're working with a graphite shaft like this, you do want to just sort of pay attention so that you don't inadvertently start taking paint off it when you're trying to just turn down the ferrule. So just pay attention when you're doing it. I like to kind of move the ferrule along the length of it as we turn it down, just to even out how the plastic gets taken off. Keeps it nice and smooth. How's that one? Just a tiny bit more. That looks good. All right, back to the acetone to just put a little bit of a shine back on these ferrules. We've got some acetone just on a very texture-free paper towel, and then we're just going to brush very, very lightly, going in the opposite direction of what we did when we were turning them down. So we're going up and down as opposed to across. Just like that. And it brings back the shine. That's what you want. Try to just kind of keep all the acetone just touching the ferrule. Don't try and touch it against the shaft if you don't have to. All right, there you go. Always remember, when you're putting a graphite shaft in a clamp, don't over tighten it, because if you're not paying attention, you can crack the graphite shaft and then you're in trouble. All right. Number 2. All right, last thing to do, we got to bend them, and then we're going to box them up, ship them out. We're going 1 degree flat and 1 degree strong on both of them. All right, all finished. Gonna wrap these up and ship them off to George. Hey, let me know down in the comments. Question 1, which one did you like more? Second question, do you think Wesley's gonna be jealous? Maybe. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely, if you did, go down below, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you'll be alerted when I post new videos. If you're interested in a fitting, in a custom build or a repair, all my contact information is down below, and I'll see you on the next video.